advisors, and numerous guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership in which an FFA member should possess.
I now declare this meeting of the Minot FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matter which may be properly presented. Madam Secretary, what is the first order of business?
New business.
Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I move that our chapter build a trebuchet for the U.S. National Pumpkin Chunking Contest.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter build a trebuchet for the National Pumpkin Chunkin Contest. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I rise in agreement with this motion, seeing as that it'd be a great bonding opportunity. We can even take the kids in the ag classes, get them to work on building the trebuchet, and what brings a group of students together better than watching some giant fruit explode? So I hope and sincerely trust you all will pass this motion.
I am against this motion. This is a horrible idea.
Point of order.
State your point.
Madam Treasurer was not properly recognized.
The treasurer will be properly recognized before speaking.
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel.
I agree with the maker of this motion, seeing that the Pumpkin Chunking Contest is a nationally known contest, and it'll just be a great opportunity for all our ag classes to work together and build this big trebuchet, which I'm sure it's going to take some time to do. And it'll just help everybody work together and work on their woodworking skills and just get everything done. So I encourage you all to stand behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Treasurer.
I am in disagreement with this motion. Where are we going to find the spot to actually utilize this trebuchet? Where are we going to be chunking these pumpkins? So I encourage you all to build this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Reporter.
I agree with the previous speaker, seeing that where are we going to have the space to even build this, and our resources to even build this? Like, we don't even have our football field to even throw our pumpkins. So I encourage you to fail this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary.
I'm in favor of this motion. As Mr. Vice President has stated, it's a great idea for us to bond. Overall, it's a great idea for us to get great wood shop stuff done. And overall, it's just a great idea. I hope that you stand behind me and pass this motion.
Discussion.
I call for personal question of privilege.
State your request.
It's kind of cold in here. Could we shut the window?
No, we'll be done in a matter of minutes. You can wait.
Mr. President,
Madam Treasurer.
I am still in disagreement with this motion. I think that this is a hazard to all the health of the potential members that could be coming to this. I think that if we are to do this, we have to take lots of safety precautions, and that must be taken into consideration when voting on this motion. So I encourage you all to fail this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel.
after hearing arguments from the other sides, I have changed my view on this motion. Seeing that, first off, getting the resources to build this trebuchet is going to take a lot of money to get all this. And then, as Madam Treasurer previously stated, there are a lot of safety precautions. With the trebuchet, there's a lot of stuff swinging around, and we don't want somebody to get clumped in the head with a big pumpkin. So I encourage you to fail this motion.
Mr. President,
Madam Treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion to the next regular meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we postpone this motion until our next regular meeting. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I stand in disagreement with this postponement, seeing as that it took me about a week just to build a little miniature trebuchet. And so if we put this to our next meeting, if we actually choose to go with it, through it, we will never have enough time to construct a trebuchet, gather pumpkins, and then just inform the students. So postponing this is not in the chapter's best interest. So I hope you all will fail this postponement.
Mr. President,
Madam Reporter.
I stand in agreement with this proposal, seeing that in our time right now, working on our upcoming events, seeing that it's not in our time to work on this, even though it would be a big project. But I encourage you to pass this postponement.
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary.
I am not in favor of this motion. As Mr. Vice President had stated, it's going to take a while for us to do this. We should have our plans ready to go. Overall, we should not wait, postpone this. We should get this done right away, so we know what we are doing. So please stand behind me and pass this motion.
Discussion. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No!
Postponement
Division.
fails. Division of the House has been called. All those in favor will please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Postponement fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye!
Those opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Is there any further new business?
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel?
I move that we hand out cupcakes tomorrow morning in front of the school.
I call for the orders of the day.
The orders of the day have been called. Madam Secretary, please read the orders of the day.
Chapter activities and service.
Are there any objections to following the orders of the day as read? We will follow the orders of the day.
Mr. President,
Madam Reporter?
I move that our chapter provide refreshments for all election officials at the local voting precincts on election day.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter provide refreshments for all election officials at the local voting precincts. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Madam Reporter?
I think this would be a great idea to get in the community and show what we can offer. It would be nice to give back what they have done, seeing that all the stuff that they will be giving to our community as if they are elected. We could get our name out there and do a lot of PR. So I encourage you to pass this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President?
I stand in agreement with this motion, seeing as that we serving the refreshments to these people. I know they're working hard, they're counting ballots, they're directing people in and out, how they're supposed to do things, and that I know that can be busy work. And what a better way to prove that no matter who gets elected, the FFA is still an organization that wants to be around, and that we're going to support them either way. So I hope and sincerely trust you all will pass this motion.
Mr. President.
Madam Treasurer?
I am in agreement with this motion. I think this is a great opportunity for us to show how much we as a organization support the voting community. We understand how crucial it is for us to vote, and I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Mr. President.
Madam Secretary?
I'm in favor of this motion, seeing that it is a difficult job sometimes for us to figure out what we're going to vote for, what we're going to do. Overall, I think it's a great idea for us to serve refreshments, have that community service out there. So knowing that we're going to do good, and we are for this. So please stand behind me and vote in favor of this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel?
I move to amend the motion by adding the words "and voters."
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to amend the motion by adding "and voters." Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel?
by serving refreshments to the voters as well, it'll maybe encourage people to get out and vote a little more, because I know people love free refreshments. That's what a lot of people are drawn to attractions for. And lately, the numbers of people going to the polls have been down. So this may give a better chance to boost up the attendance to the polls and who's all voting. So I encourage you all to pass this amendment.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President?
I stand in disagreement with this amendment, seeing as that it would cost us a lot more to start serving refreshments to beyond the elected officials. And voting takes maybe half an hour to an hour at tops, and they're really not in there long enough that we need to spend our time and money giving them refreshments. Whereas it's just better off as just the officials, whereas they're in there all day and they actually need our help. So I hope and sincerely trust you all will fail this amendment.
Mr. President,
Madam Treasurer?
I agree with the previous speaker. There's no way of knowing how many people will be coming to the polls and voting. So if we do choose to provide refreshments for the voters, we don't know how much we should be accounting for. So I encourage you all to fill this motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President?
I move to lay this motion and amendment on the table.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion and amendment on the table. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Lay on the table fails. Any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Madam Reporter?
I think this amendment is a great idea, seeing that we can talk to our fellow community and get our name out there in FFA. Even if we don't have refreshments, even if we run out of them, we could give them a pamphlet about FFA and see what ways they can support us, and we will support them right back in what they do. So I encourage you to pass amendment.
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary?
I rise to previous question.
Previous
Second.
question has been moved. All those in favor will please rise. Be seated. Previous question passes unanimously. We will vote on the amendment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Amendment passes. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Madam Secretary?
I'm still in favor of this motion. This is still a great idea for us to do. Overall, I believe it's a great activity for us to do as a chapter and show that we are out there and we are in a great organization. So please stand behind me and pass the motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Sentinel?
as Madam Secretary previously said, it's just a good idea for us to get out in the community and show our names, and even if we don't serve refreshments to everybody, and even if people don't take refreshments, people still recognize us out in the community, and they're going to realize how good of an organization FFA is and what they do for the community. So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should now be properly brought before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Minot FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow guests and members, join me in a salute to our flag.